Absolutely fully open gold circle. Excellent. So we shall note that down as being dome. That's dome. And whilst we're at a dome, let's test out our code. Because whilst there is no power to these linking books right now, we can in fact test the codes. So let's do that. So, and remember that the code is specific to each game of Riven. It would be unique each time, and you would need to figure out the code for yourself. So we obviously have to go working our way along in groups of 5, surprisingly enough. So we need to put this one to 20, so that's 10, 15, 20, right there. The next one that I suggested was 16. The third symbol was 13. 13 that. Next one was 3, so it's 2, 1, 2, 3, and the first one was 2. Let's please, fingers crossed, that we're right. So I'm going to take that as a yes. And we have got the correct code. And we can see the symbol on the front now. However, as we see here, we may have unlocked the linking book, but the book has got no power. So our next mission is to power the linking books. And again, as we see, 233rd. I think it is anyway. Let's just double check actually. Find out where we're going to. Yes. If you match that up to the symbol that I showed from the notebook or from the previous video, that is the 233rd. Right, we need to get out of here. So we can activate. So let's go back around and see where the upper, we can see the bridge raised right here. Let's go back around to that. So what have we got? Let's think about that whilst we're going around. Well, we've got the code that gives us access to all of the domes. We've got the colours for each of the domes that we know, apart of course from the Crater Island dome. We don't know what the colour for the Crater Island dome is. Okay. So we've gathered quite a lot of information, and really the key to Riven, if you're playing it through yourself, is to record everything. You want to record all the pieces of information that you find, and this when I was playing it through the first time, it really took me a while to get my head around this, and I ended up having to sort of start it again and really make heavy notes. I've made slightly more concise notes this time around, but everything is really a very logical process. It's complex, but it's not really difficult. It's only difficult if you you know, you can't apply your mind to it in a specific way. And it really is a case of just taking the time to read and think and understand what it is that you're doing. It also shows that, you know, having such full immersiveness in a game really is important. You know, if you want to get everything that you can from this game, it's all about putting yourself into the world, into the place. You know, when you read Gen's journal, you need to read it thoroughly, because it's not like certain games that I've played where you can read journals and information in the books themselves, in the books or the, you know, the guides or whatever, anything that's actually in the game. And sometimes they put this stuff in there that doesn't really matter. Like, for example, Skyrim. There's books and so on in Skyrim which really aren't relevant to the whole thing. They might be nice to read, but they don't have any... Some of them do. Some of them don't have any literal impact in the game. Whereas with Riven, the journals really give you a strong picture of the characters, and they give more information than just codes. Some of the information that's written very specifically will help you out with puzzles and so on. Now, I'm not sure whether this one will... Yes, okay, one more rotation. One more rotation, then I have to walk across, then I have to turn it around again. Whoever devised this rotating room is a cruel taskmaster. Okay, here we go. So we need to go back out here. And look at this, we are right back to the very, very beginning. We're going to need to rotate the dome another 2 times, I think. So, one more time. And we'll go again. We'll have another one, please, Carol. There we go. We'll have 1 from the top and 2 from the bottom. So this has given us access now back to the other walkway. And I would be leaving this permanently open now. If I want to go back to the other islands, I'm going to have to go the long way round. We can see, actually, we wouldn't have noticed before, but let's just quickly turn around. Just going to point out that, hello, what's that? That's where you see things in these rocks. What is that? We can rotate the room from out here, apparently. Anyway, I was going to say, on the dome itself, you can see again inscribed all the way around is the alphabet that we found, the writing. Okay, and also look along the edges here, you can see the number 5 inscribed. See right here, number 5 all the way through. Now, this seems a very small piece of machinery to be at the centre, so it must also be incredibly important. That's obviously the control for it, but let's have another look first. Well, funnily enough, what we've got here are some colours. I think we recognise these colours. Now, I don't know if you can see, but notice these lines here. See these slightly darker lines? One there, and then Nothing. There's just a straight line going across this one. There's a darker line here going up there. And there's a small square. Also, note that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 by 5 grid yet again. So, thinking logically, where have we seen these two elements? Well, we saw them back on Survey Island. We also know from Gen's journal that the fire marbles are what he uses to power the domes. And we also know that the colours that we found back in the underwater area, the underwater viewing platform, those colours relate specifically to each dome. So we have the orange fire marble, that was Survey Island, and this is Survey Island. We also know that we had the green, that was the Dome Island, and this, I believe, was Dome Island. I'm just putting these randomly, these are not the locations, these are just to remind myself of what we've found so far. Now, the blue, we don't know where blue was from. Red, we know that red was for the Forest Island. Okay, and the other ones we don't know. Now, we know that yellow applied to a specific symbol that we haven't seen on any dome. We also know that the blue was assigned again to an eye we haven't seen on any dome. However, the other symbol, the one that didn't work, we knew was Crater Island. So from, again, process of elimination, the purple must be Crater Island. So we can put that one in there. So we have got 4 out of the 5 domes. However, at the moment we have no way of knowing where these fire marbles need to go, and that's something we're going to need to find out. So in order to do that, we're going to have to go back to Survey Island. We're going to have a look at Survey Island and work out where those domes are located on each island. There is a very specific slot for each fire marble to go in, and if one of them is not correct, then none of them will work. So I'm going to catch you guys for the next episode. We're going to be taking a trip back to Survey Island, and we're going to be on a mission to find the locations of those domes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back on Riven very soon.